Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Fleric.
This is Mac.
And today we are going to be talking about our popularity poll that we released back in November, sat on for a couple of months, and then released the results for
There was
February.
too much going on in the sumo world. We didn't want to be a distraction.
Yes.
Indeed.
Also, there were holidays. Also, I got devastatingly sick, which you heard on a few of the episodes.
Ryan, let's just continue on with the we were selling it with too much going on in sumo, not our personal life.
Yeah. Make it sound like it's a legit thing.
Exactly.
I'll just edit this conversation.
Thank you very much.
So after getting through all the things that were keeping us busy, we finally were able to get to releasing our popularity poll results. And so this was released a little bit ago, but we did want to cover it in a podcast. The popularity poll is something...
Because you like hearing yourself talk, don't you?
Oh, my God. It's the best. Doesn't everybody? But this is something that we're going to plan on doing every 6 months and plan on being a little bit better with releasing the results in a timely fashion.
Now that we've done it once, it'll be a lot quicker to collect all the data.
Yeah. But we kind of want to monitor the trends in Rikishi popularity as time goes on. Kind of big events in sumo that happens. How is that going to affect somebody's popularity, whether it's good, whether it's bad? So like Toku Shoryu, who probably had very few votes in our favorite Juryo Rikishi category. Probably he's going to have quite a few more votes when we do this again after the May Basho.
Right, Juryo, because the Bansuke that we used is the end of the year Bansuke.
Yes.
What did the Bansuke look like at the end of 2019?
We had questions specifically for who's your favorite Makuuchi wrestler, who's your favorite Juryo wrestler. So that doesn't completely jive up with what we just saw in the Hatsu Basho, but that's what we're working off of because that's when we released it. And so maybe like somebody like Tochinoshin, who had been an Ozeki, who has now fallen down the Bansuke, maybe his popularity is going to see a little bit of a drop. So we're going to be doing this twice every year to just kind of monitor the trends, see who's popular, who's not popular, and I don't know. I just think that's something fairly interesting to me. But so this was our first one. We released it. And we're just going to kind of go over the results if you haven't seen those already.
Or if you just prefer your media in audio form.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to hear Ryan talk a lot, which I'm sure is
hold on.
half of the reason people tune into this podcast. So we're going to start off with who was the most popular Rikishi. We asked, like, who's your favorite Makuuchi Rikishi? Who's your favorite Juryo Rikishi? Who is, like, your favorite in the lower divisions? And who is your favorite overall? Pretty much the Makuuchi and overall matched up in the results. So we're just going to be talking about who's your favorite Makuuchi right now. But before we do that, I've got a top 10 list in front of me, and I want to see how many of our favorites make it onto that top 10 list. So let's start with Jake. Who are your 2 or 3 favorite guys? And I'll let you know if they made it onto the top of the list.
So Takayasu, number 1.
So he is number 6 on the popularity list.
That's 5 places too low. I can't pretend it's not Enho. I mean, Enho is always like the guy whose matches I am most excited to make sure I'm catching.
And Enho is number 1.
There you go.
Most popular Rikishi.
Yeah, I'd say after that, it drops off quite a bit, but maybe Asanoyama maybe next.
All right, and he's number 4.
Cool.
Not bad.
How about you, Fleric? Who are your favorites?
I have Hakuho up there.
He's number 2.
There we go. Enho, which was mentioned, but I also like Ryuden.
Oh, Ryuden.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in my top 3.
He is not on the top 10 list for popularity, so.
So
what's
screw
up, people?
you.
What's up, people?
What about you, Mac?
Well, Asanoyama, I would say, is probably the one that I'm hot on most right now.
Interesting phrasing.
Seriously, have you seen that man in the Mawashi? Oh, my. Next up, as much flack as he's been getting, Abi. I just like Abi's style.
He did crack the top 10. He is number 10 on the popularity list.
And number 3, just for other reasons, Chiyomaru. I just like seeing my boy wrestle.
Yeah, he did not make the
I know. That's a crime. It's a crime.
Yeah.
I didn't pick him as one of my top 3, but I still really wanted him to be on there.
So did I. I was like, he's my number 3.
Yeah, and I think people know my number 1 guy, Hokuto Fuji. He's number 8 on the overall popularity list.
Stats were padded.
He did get. There was a time when I was the first person who took this survey where Hokuto Fuji was the number one most popular rickshi.
And from then it just
It
straight
did not.
By
it did
there
not
was
last.
a time. By there was a time. Do you mean you created the survey and then took it?
and then
And
posted.
that's when you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Takakeisho is my number 2 guy, and he is number 5 on this popularity list.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had to think long and hard about who my number 3 guy was, because it's kind of like Jake. It's a big cliff after Hokuto Fuji and Takakeisho. Oh no show.
Ooh.
I was trying to
Really?
think.
Oh.
I was thinking like Asanoyama, but if like Onosho was at that same level as Asanoyama, I would cheer for Onosho over Asanoyama every single
Really?
time.
Sure.
So if Onosho ever gets back up there, he might rival Takakeisho. But yeah, I think Onosho actually is the guy who I most want to see get up in those ranks.
Yeah, he has a good story about him. Like, like just with the rival with Takakeisho, and if he does get good, like it's gonna be just great drama.
Oh yeah, the rivalry between those two would be amazing. So yeah, surprisingly Onosho, but he is not in the top 10 list. So we have named the number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 8, and number 10.
Okay, so what you're getting at there is that the guys that we like are also a lot of the guys that our fans
Yeah.
are interested in.
But I also want to see if you guys can fill out the list.
So we can see who else we need to actually talk about more on this show.
So we still got number 3, number 7, and number 9 on the list. It's not a contest or anything, so just throw out a name if you think they are in the top 10.
Well,
most
I know it's
popular.
not Kakuryu.
It's probably that Endo guy.
Endo is not in our top 10.
Really?
Thank goodness.
Mitaki
Yumi is number 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow,
do we-
Toshinoshin?
Yep, Toshinoshin is number 3.
And he would be real close on my list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this was like a year ago,
A year ago would be
or 6
different.
months ago,
And that's why we're going to keep doing the survey more often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So number 9, he's probably a difficult guy to get at this point. But remember, we did this at the time of Kyushu.
It's Ichinojo.
It is Ichinojo.
Wow.
What do I win?
9. The pride of guessing Ichinojo correctly.
This is the best. I love this prize.
So, yeah, that is your top 10 list in order. Enho, Hakuho, Tochinoshin, Asanoyama, Takakeisho, Takayasu, Mitaki-Yumi, Hokuto Fuji, Ichinojo, and Abi. If you're not happy with the results of that, you should have taken our survey and voted differently.
And you'll have another chance.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the guys who nobody likes. There are 8 guys who did not we got over 604 responses, which is fantastic. That's a lot
like
more
it.
than I think any of us expected to get for
sure.
doing this. Big shout out to Tachiai for helping promote this survey. We gave them our data, so they might work up their own article that's probably going to be far better and more insightful than what we did.
Well, a lot of that is that we don't want to do work.
yes.
Bingo. We want to do the bare minimum and still have people listen to us, and it's been working so far.
Thus far, yes.
So why don't you guys take a crack at some of the names that did not make it on the no favorites, that did not receive a single vote for favorite rickshi?
I'm going to
Okay.
sit this one out because I worked with Ryan when we were doing the data.
Okay, so didn't get a single vote for favorite.
Yes.
There's 8 of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You got the Bonds K in front of you here.
Okay.
Who do you think?
Who? No one likes Kotayuki.
That is correct. Yes. He is on the list.
Okay, let's do
My
hot garbage
nemesis.
Shodai.
Shodai has some votes.
Ooh, I was wrong.
Some people are messed up.
Don't think about people that people hate. Think about people that nobody gives a crap about.
Oh,
Guido?
Kagayaki.
Kagayaki has some votes.
Really?
Somehow Goedo has some favorite votes. I don't understand it.
Some wonky stats over here.
Yeah.
This
about to
was
say,
during Kyushu.
Oyama?
Aoyama has
No.
some votes.
I love
smokes.
Kichiyoki in Aoyama. I guess it's kind of hard.
Kotayuki?
We already said him. He's the only one you've gotten right.
Yeah,
so
but it was
far.
correct, so he wanted to get it again.
I was like, okay, that's what I'm like. Kotoyuki was one, but I'm like, who else?
Shiman no Umi?
Somehow Shima no Umi has 1 or 2 favorite votes.
That's so weird.
Sadanomi?
Sadanumi is another one.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Takari Fuji.
Takarafuji has some favorite votes.
We're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
you want to just read off a few of them that
Yes,
nobody
please.
cares?
You guys named a lot of guys that don't have very many votes, but the people who don't have any, I was a little surprised by this. Tamawashi has no favorite votes.
No way.
I thought after his view show last year, maybe somebody would have latched on to him. Apparently not. Chiyo Tairyu. Nobody cares about Chiyo Tairyu.
That's kind of a bummer. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
We have a couple of guys who bounce between Juryo and Makuuchi, Daisho Maru and Daishoho. Neither of them had a favorite. Newcomer to the Makuuchi division, Takanosho. Nobody's latched on to him yet.
He's still too new.
It was his, only his second or third basho.
He's too new.
And a guy that made his debut at Makuuchi, Wakataka Kage, did not get any favorite votes.
Oh.
And so,
Still a winner in our hearts.
Yeah.
Though. We like Wakataka Kage.
so those are the guys that nobody really cares about, so we don't need to talk about on the podcast. Except for Wakataka Kage. He's going to be amazing.
Clearly.
Mainly just because we want to say his name as many times as we can.
Yeah.
Whose name? Wakataka Kage's?
Yeah, Wakataka Kage's name.
Fun.
Wakataka Kage.
So let's take a look at who were the top 5 Juryo Rikishi. And if you take a look at that, Bansuke, it's probably not going to be all too difficult to figure it out because it turns out people like the people who are usually in Makuuchi.
The people we've heard of.
Yeah. So not going to make you guys guess on this one, but our top 5 Rikishi that were in Juryo at the time of Kyushu, Ikioi was far and away the number one guy, long time Makuuchi mainstay.
I think he would have been in the running for one of the Makuuchi favorites if he was
very
if he
easily
was in
could have been.
Makuuchi.
Yeah. Kaisei.
I see Cassie down there too.
Yep. We also had Tochi Ozan was in the top 5. So those are 3 guys that were Makuuchi mainstays that have been around for a long time that were in Juryo. And so people really don't care about Juryo wrestlers. They care about the top guys that have fallen.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that's just branding, because no one really knows too much about
If you
Juryo.
haven't heard of a guy before, he's very likely not going to be your favorite.
And I think we should take credit for the guy who is the number 3 top 5 Juryo Rikishi for somebody that we talk about a lot on the podcast, but
Akua.
no. Who made his Juryo debut in Kyushu. Hoshoryu was the number 3 favorite Juryo Rikishi.
Yes, I will take credit for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
And rounding out the top 5, actually at number 4, because Tochi Ozan was number 5, Yago was the 4th most popular guy in Juryo.
And he's a guy that if he can keep his health in order, he would be a Makuuchi guy for a while. He showed that he could stick around in Makuuchi, until he started
might
getting
be
hurt.
going down to Makushita. He did not do very good.
He got a 4 in the last
He is
night.
for sure hurt. I know that is. I have heard that over the last few months. He keeps struggling with injuries.
Yeah. And real quick, we're going to run through the top 5 guys that are currently Makushita or below. Unsurprisingly, Ura was the runaway favorite in that situation. Terano Fuji was the second most popular there. Probably this guy gets talked about a lot. Waka Ichiro was number 3.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at the time of this recording, really sounds like Waka Ichiro surprisingly retired. So we're waiting on confirmation on that, but it seems like that might be the case.
The time of recording this is this is right. The announcement, I guess, on Instagram was yesterday. So we're still piecing together, but I'm sure more news will come out soon.
Yeah. Chiyo no Kuni, who's at the top of Makushita, was recently up in Makuuchi. And you guys are going to like this. The number 5 favorite lower division Rikishi, Hattori Sakura.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I love it.
Hey, where was Terano Fuji ranked for this one? Was he in Juryo at the time?
He
of
was
this?
in Makushita at the time of this one.
And he didn't make it into the top 5 though?
He was number 2.
Oh, I was playing my phone game. You're right. I suppose I should focus on the podcast.
All right.
I'm surprised 007 Arawashi didn't make the list.
The now Intai Arawashi, unfortunately.
Aw.
I'm sure he got your vote, Flarek, if you even took the survey.
What?
What's that now?
Arawashi henked the entire sumo world at once and retired.
All right, that's enough talk about our favorite Rikishi. Let's talk about something a lot more fun for me, the people we hate.
Hey, I already heard that Tamawashi and Kotoyuki got 0 votes for being favorites. I'm happy. I'm retiring from sumo forever. That is everything I could have hoped for. 600 people, not one of them liked either of my 2 nemesis at all.
So, and both of those guys show up on the top 10 least popular
Well,
list.
you know what you need to know about my opinion. Let's move on to the next.
Tamawashi was number 6 and Kotoyuki was number 7.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So, Fleric, who would make it into your least favorite list?
Is there any place for that hot garbage that's Shodai?
Number 10 on the least favorite list is Hot Garbage Shodai.
I'll take it.
And honestly, I don't know if he's done anything worth hating in the real world outside of like Fleric bigging him up as like some
I think it's
villain.
the GSB influence there.
Yeah. He was hot for a while, but he's just
And
he's
even
just
though-
so inconsistent.
I
Like it's
think-
kind of like the Goedo, but of the joy.
Yeah. He's just training to replace Goedo.
Is there anybody else that you hate, or is it just the Shodai?
I had Tamawashi up there
Okay.
as well, but kind of Endo, mostly because of all the hype he gets and just kind of the disappointment that follows. So,
Endo did not make the top 10 most popular list, but he did eke on to the top 10 least popular list at number 9.
there you go.
And I do think it's important to note this is among the English-speaking community because it's run by our podcast, so we speak English. So and based on the results, we
Ryan,
didn't get
we're
very...
minutes into this podcast. If people didn't speak English,
But yeah,
would be
at
gone.
least I'm just pointing out this isn't like the sumo community as a whole.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
It's
no, no.
English-speaking sumo community, which is why Endo didn't make our top 10 list. Mac, who are your least favorites?
I really don't have a least favorite. There are a lot that I'm like,
It is kinda tough,
If
yeah.
he wins, that's cool. If not, no big deal. I would say one of the meh-est for me would be Tochi Ozan.
Okay. He didn't make the list, but I can understand that.
It just, it's just his style of sumo. Same with Kagayaki and honestly, Nishikigi.
Kagayaki, yeah, we mentioned it briefly here, but Wata, friend of
Expecting
the
a
show,
huge jump in the Kagayaki hatred
Yeah.
after.
friend of the show,
Internet
Wata
slut.
actually pointed out why Kagayaki sucks.
And then I went back and started watching. I'm like, he's right. He was right.
None of those guys made our top 10 least popular list, and I feel pretty good about my opinions driving some of the people that did make the least popular list.
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be. If do you want us to like fill out the rest of the list with some
Well,
guesses
let
here?
me
Okay,
put
I'm
out
sorry.
my
Go ahead.
favorites, my least favorite. So at the time of this popularity poll was released, Goedo was still active, and so I'm still going to say Goedo is my least favorite, and he was number 4. I'm a little disappointed he wasn't higher, but he was the number 4 least favorite, and then right behind him was probably my original nemesis, but then Goedo overtook him. But Aoyama is number 5 on the least popular list. So remaining, we have the number 8 least popular guy, and we have 1, 2, and 3 still on the
Okay.
board. I know Jake knows who number 1 is.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay out of this one again.
So
I'll
Mac-
talk about it once you guys figure out who it is.
And the number 2 least popular guy, we did give the option for people like Mac who don't have hate in their heart. The number 2 least popular option was none. So
Yeah, okay. They're like,
I can
not
see
really.
that.
Like, thank you, my people.
yeah,
you feel me. Thank
If
you.
we didn't have a Shodai or elbow destroying Tamawashi, I would kind of feel towards that.
all right, so we're looking for number 1, number 3, and number 8 on the most hated list.
I am also aware of who number 1 is, so
Okay.
I will abstain from that.
Mac, do you know who number 1 is? Have we talked about this?
Has this
enough?
gotten spoiled for you in the last week or so of these results?
I'm gonna guess because no, I don't know.
Okay.
Is it Abi?
It is Abi.
Attaboy.
It is Abi indeed.
I searched my feelings and knew they were true. Like, I knew it. I knew it.
Which is so weird and so wrong.
That one came out of left field. I think that's the most surprising thing for me on this entire survey. Like, I could have guessed, Enho's popular, Hakuho's popular, but Abi to be the least favorite was really surprising.
I think there are 2 factors here. I think one factor is he was kind of the face of like the social media scandal. Well, I mean,
Scandal.
Scandal, yeah.
not scandal.
Heavy air quotes, but like incident maybe.
yeah, it
or-
was like what? You like taped people up? I don't know.
It was just like some like
was a
dorm room
prank.
style dicking around and like
Yeah,
With a friend of his,
But either way, and the second reason is his style of sumo, which I know is not popular, which is 100% pushing, thrusting, and then freaking out and dodging the hell out of them.
Takakeisho? Takakeisho, anybody?
I think Takakeisho
number
won.
8.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that Jake hit the nail on the head. It's the style of sumo. People don't like it if you don't have a well-rounded game.
Right.
And 2, especially if your specialty is pushing thrusting. For some reason,
Oh, yeah.
people just hate that. It must be a thing where like pure sumo is belt sumo to a lot of people. And so if you can't do that, people kind of just discredit you.
Yeah. I can
a shame.
kind of see
Shame.
that.
Shame
It's
on you.
A little bit less flashy, but still stupidly impressive.
And we are looking for number 3 on the least popular list.
Koto Shogiku?
No.
You're gonna kick yourself. It's right there for you.
Did I mention Show Light? Okay.
Wait,
Let me think about this. Go ahead and say some names while I think about this.
So
Who else are a lot of people
just
gonna hate? in
Go to the
sumo?
top of the Bonsuke and start listing names till you get it right.
Oh, it's probably Hakuho.
It is Hakuho.
Wow, Ryan, that was a really good strategy for them to guess.
It is Hakuho indeed. Probably the most controversial
He made both
guy.
lists, right?
He's number 2 on the most popular list and number 3 on the least popular list.
He's been around long enough to make a lot of negative opinions that stick, and he is kind of a dick.
is Kakaru
Yeah,
on
but-
either of these lists?
Dang, can he sumo?
Hakuryu is far down on both lists.
I'm like, okay.
Nobody
Still a
cares.
Yokozuna, but nobody cares.
So, in contrast to there being 8 guys who did not receive a single most favorite vote, there is only one guy, and I'm just going to tell you who it is, who did not receive a single vote for least favorite.
Hattori Sakura.
No, he was not eligible. 'cause
Top
this is
division only.
Makuuchi.
No.
Yeah.
But Ishiura?
No, it was Tomokaze. And so I'm wondering if people like he's a young guy that's on the rise, and like he hasn't been around to make anybody hate him at this point. And I wonder if people just couldn't find it in their heart to hate a guy who just had his knee explode.
Yeah,
on
nobody
live
wanted to
television.
speak ill of the dead.
So yeah, I find that kind of surprising. Tomokaze is the only guy who is not somebody's number 1 most hated Rikishi. Everybody else, somebody could find it deep down in their soul to hate Sada no Umi,
So,
but
to
not
even care.
Tomokaze. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Even
that
Chiyomaru.
even Wakataka Kage.
Yeah,
How can you hate you?
he's done nothing. Daisho Maru.
Daishomaru.
Who on the planet has an opinion about Daisho Maru?
Yeah, you kind of had it coming.
Yeah.
Who hates Hokuto Fuji?
Well,
probably
let's not get into that.
probably
Let's not get
because
into
of
that.
me.
Ryan would like them to submit their names and addresses.
And kindly stop listening to this podcast. So yeah, that was the vast majority of what I wanted to talk about. There's a couple of quick hits of things that we'll ask again, and it's not going to be as obvious in the future because Enho won't be involved. But we asked who was people's favorite newcomer to the Makuuchi division. And so Enho won by 60 percentage points.
Nice.
He had 70 percentage points of people's favorite newcomer, followed by 10% for Tomokaze.
Yeah.
The remaining top 5 were Wakataka Kage, Terutsuyoshi, and Yago for people who made their debut in the past year. Favorite Heya. I was just curious if people cared about that. Turns
Isegahama?
out that's on there. Turns out, not really, no. About 50% of responders did not have a favorite Heya, which doesn't surprise me at all.
I think another factor in this one is there are only a few stables that have multiple guys that are famous enough to be well known and have strong opinions about.
And those
And,
are all the stables that made the remaining top 5.
Right. Like Miyagino stable is Hakuho, Enho, and Ishiura.
Yep.
All 3 polarizing and very well known. And Kokonoe, is that the Chios?
All of the Chios.
Everybody
Kokonoe.
with a Chio. So that's like, 5 or 6 guys that you've heard of that you can care about. And, so, a lot of the stables have either like 1 or 0 Megashiras.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Miyagino was the second most popular response. Enho, Hakuho there driving that. Kokonoe was the 4th most popular response with all of the Chios, Chiyomaru, Chiyo Tairyu, all of them. Kasugano was the second most favorite Heya, but the 3rd most popular result after Nun and Miyagino. Kasugano has Tochinoshi, Aoyama, and Tochiozan in there. And the number 5 was Isegahama. As Mac mentioned, they have Takara Fuji, Terano Fuji, Terutsuyoshi, and former Yokozuna Haruma Fuji was in Isegahama. So,
That was a powerhouse stable
No
for a while.
kidding.
yeah, it was. So after that, we did ask about some of the demographics. We were just curious about who is responding to this podcast, or not podcast, but who is responding to
The survey.
the survey, who's listening to us, and yeah, just kind of curious on that. I do know, so the age one, Jake, you can figure it out. I don't know where all your graphs are.
There's too many graphs. It's making
There
Ryan
is.
upset.
It is. I'm not happy.
So yeah, we asked about for each fan, like how old are you? What gender? How long have you been following sumo? We just kind of wanted to get some sort of grasp on like what who is listening. You know, are there unexpected trends or something like that could be fun and surprising. So for location, this one was A, not surprising, and B, fortunate because it's kind of how we focus our coverage. More than half of this community that responded to the survey, United States.
Yay!
We have the most people. We're based out of the United States. Makes sense.
Ta-da! After that are, shockingly, other large English-speaking countries.
Weird.
What?
So United Kingdom at about 10%, Canada around 5%, Australia around 4%. Then we get some Western Europe like Germany, France, Sweden, Italy.
Thank you, Wada.
And we get, how many did we have with only one or two people?
A lot of them.
We had like pushing like 60, 70 maybe countries total.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool to hear. But yeah, the sample size not large enough to really make too many conclusions about anything. But regardless, it was fun to see and pretty expected that the countries with a lot of people that speak English are the people that follow English-speaking sumo coverage the most.
And a big thank you to all of you. It's been fun. We love it so far.
Yep. As far as gender goes, this is sports, so so around let's see, what is that? 78% male. Yep. Not a shocker. 17% female and 5% prefer not to say. So a little bit of.
I think one of the responses was yes, please.
Yes. So shout out for
Well
the Wayne's
done.
World
Well
reference
done.
for
Yeah.
sure. And then let's talk about age and experience. So the experience one, let's save that one for last because that was my favorite. But age-wise, we're talking mostly about half of our audience is between 18 and 35. Half of our audience, Tachiai's audience, et cetera. Yeah, I'm going to quit putting that disclaimer on everything. But yeah, so not very much under 18. So maybe we need to yeet out more slang into the abyss to catch that youth vote.
Faux show.
Dog.
Faux show word. Talk to the hand. Then
Sorry,
another
faux shizzle.
we also had, like I said, that was about half is 18 to 35. And then 35 to 50 or so is another third or so. And then we do have more older followers than I expected.
More
we'd
than
see.
a quarter or over
Yeah.
40.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, we'll be there soon enough. So like we shouldn't be
Shut
that
your
surprised.
mouth. You shut your mouth.
You'll be there
Decade.
first. You're the
Calm
oldest
down.
one on the podcast.
I'm sorry. Are you disrespecting Fleric, the oldest person on this podcast?
I will wreck you.
Yeet. Yeet.
Yes, you keep tossing out that slang, you chonky boy. But yeah, so the experience with sumo, this was my favorite one that we my favorite result that we got because this is super encouraging. And if you read the blog post that we made, I gushed about this for a little bit here too. But our followers here are overwhelmingly new sumo fans, and I think that is super encouraging. It shows that the following for this sport is growing very quickly. 75% of our followers have been following sumo for 5 years or less.
Wow.
Right.
That's weird. That's when we started watching and podcasting. I wonder if the GSB podcast has anything to do with that.
Must be a coincidence.
It probably is.
Probably. But yeah, so about a third of the total response was 1 to 2 years. About a third was 3 to 5 years. We do have some people that are a full 2% of respondents have been following sumo for more than 30 years.
Wow.
So there's a wide range in there for sure. About 12% were under 1 year. So I think part of what that means is that yes, the fandom, the fan interaction is growing quite a bit, but there was that 1 to 5 years or so. We may be coming through a plateau or something, but I don't know. There's a lot of conclusions that we can toss out there. Regardless, 75% 5 years or less. That is the coolest result that I think we've seen in this demographic section.
Yeah.
So let's keep that trend going. Spread sumo to all of those unwilling people who don't want their coworker to come rant about sumo wrestling podcast to them. Too bad.
And now you have a handy top 10 list of Rickshi for them to
Love and
follow
hate.
and love so that they
Yeah.
know who to cheer for correctly and who not to cheer for correctly.
And if it helps, we can supply you with dozens of pie charts.
Yes.
We have all of these set up on our Google Drive here, and oh man, if anyone wants to talk spreadsheets or graphs, I mean,
Jake is available.
I'm here for you.
But yeah, that's going to wrap up the results of our popularity survey. I just wanted to get those out in podcast form, mostly just to hear myself talk a little bit more.
We know.
But yeah, it's something that I find super fascinating. I'm really excited to do this again after the Natsu Basho, see what changes there are. It's going to take some time before we see some major changes, but I mean, Hakuho is going to be out of the game soon. Tochinoshin's dropped out of Hoseki. Tokushoryu just won a Yusho. How is this all going to affect their popularity?
One quick hit on Tokushoryu. He was in Juryo at the time of the survey, and he only got 3 total votes for favorite Juryo wrestler.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet that he's going to be a little bit more popular next time.
Most definitely. But that is going to end this episode. So if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Grand Sumo Breakdown, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Our blog is grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com, where we put all the full tables and such.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
All right, we will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.
Haru! Haru!